Hi guys, it's me Karen, and I've come to do a requested video. I know I've kind of done doing a lot of them, but I get a lot of questions. So I did a video on how to use distress inks, but there was one part I did not tell you what you can do with these. And I was asked if I've ever used them like watercolors, and yes I have. And I will be showing you how I'm going to do that with these. I picked out a couple colors. I'm going to do the little cat in here. And this little cat is kind of like a little naked kitty here. And I'm going to be using this. These are the cutting sheets you can get at the Dollar Tree. They're the for cutting vegetables and stuff, and then you can pour them into your pots. And well, come in a pack of 2. They're a little bigger than this, and I just use a cutter, cut the sides, and then I use a chomper here that cuts the round corners. And usually I make them to fit the size of the book, so I can watercolor on the other side or something, you know, stick it in so that nothing bleeds through. Kerby's papers are pretty good for that, so today I'm going to use that as my inking pad. And I have a little water here, and I think I have a little cup somewhere. Yeah, one would be nicely organized. Would it have a little cup? A little cup. That's to fill water up in, because I don't really want to spray the water on top of the ink. It'll splatter it all over the place. So just a teeny tiny bit of water is all you need. And then you have your distress inks. I'm going to kind of give him a pink brownish look. So I have Victorian velvet here. There are 2 sides to these mats. There's kind of a rough side, and if you can tell by the lights, there's a nice shiny side. I prefer to use the rough side. You can use both. I'm just going to take the ink pad and I'm going to squash it down on the plastic, and you get ink down on there. I'll put a little of the gathered twigs next to it and just squish them in. Okay, that's all you need the pads for. I'm going to use my favorite brush. I use this particular brush all the time. It's like, I don't know how much I spent on it when I bought it, but it was kind of a lot for one paintbrush. It's a number 4 silver black velvet brush. So if I spend that much money, I'm going to use it on everything. Okay, we're going to put these so you can still see them, hopefully. And we're going to work on the little kitty here. So I'm going to wet the brush just a tiny bit, just to get some water on it. I'm going to have a rag close so I can kind of dab some of that water off. And I'm just going to pick up some of that water, or ink here. Going to get it wet. Okay. And we're going to do ears first, because we can get a little more color in the ears. So we're just going to, like a watercolor, give it some color down here. Because this is ink, you want to kind of work a little faster, only because it will dry quicker. It is water soluble, but you don't want to mess too much with the paper. Going to add a tiny little brown into that so you can mix these colors together and get a little brown down at the base. Darken it up a little bit. And you just have to remember, in Kerby's books you can put down a bit of water, but you want to make sure you don't get too much. So we're just going to go in the shadow areas here and a light touch of color. Okay. So get a little of the 2 colors, mix them together. The more water you put in it, the lighter that color will be, and I dab a little off before I get on the paper. And we're just going to go where Kerby has put his dark lines. And if you want it lighter, just add a little bit more water to it. And there we go. This won't take too long to get a base color down. But in case you don't want to use the tool, you can always just use it as a watercolor. It might be a lot easier for some people. You can use a water brush with this too if you don't want to use a paintbrush. And then you wouldn't need the extra little bit of water over here. You just squeeze your water brush and put it down. Okay. If you want a darker color, put less water in it. A lighter color, add more water. Kind of easy that way. Want a little more pink up here in this ear over on this side. More water on that. And then a little brown. Hopefully you can see all the way down here. Trying to keep it all in camera. Oop. And like I said, it's okay if you go outside. You can either blend that in with a little bit more water or put something else over it. It's going to be a, I drew it in a little circle over here. We're going to put a type of sunset or sunrise in there. I'm not sure yet. And I always go light here, because you can go in darker or put extra layers on to make it dark, but you cannot lift this ink up very well when you're using this technique. It doesn't move. It's not real watercolor where you can lift it up. It is ink. So you got to keep that in mind when you're painting with this. Just get a little pink in there. Because our skin will show. She doesn't have much fur. She has no fur, but And there's a bit of a cat down here too, so I have to get down there, but I want to put a little more the pink up on this area. Just mixing those two colors up to get a nice shade in there. Now, one of the other things that you can think about is when you're putting this down, it'll go down darker than it will when it dries. So I always want to, there's a branch that goes off in there, put a little more brown in that area. There we go. If you want to get really close into details, you can do that too, especially with a fine brush. Probably getting this all over my arm. Didn't even think about that. Okay, let's get the other parts of this kitty here. Can you see that? I hope so. I can't see what the camera's doing, or what you're seeing in the camera. I can only see what I'm doing down here, so I'm hoping you'll get the whole kit and caboodle. Kitty cat. A little more water on there. Probably need a little more ink. Yeah, I think this is part of the tummy, but I'm not sure. We'll just make it that color with a little more brown in it, in case it's not part of her. And the tip of her tail up here, or his tail, depending on what you want your kitty to be. And I think this ear needs to be a little darker in here. These are stairs here. Okay. So as long as you have enough color on here, you can go over any of these details with the pencils. And we've inked her up pretty good. I'm going to be real wise, put that as far away from me as I possibly can. Okay, pencil wise. Do I have anything on my desk? No, I don't. Well, we'll get out some coloursofts since they're a box on my desk. Kind of want a brownish pink color, so not too dark, although that's my favorite color. I like that one. I'm going to bring in a little bit of the Loganberry, and we're going to put it in like the darkest areas here and just bring that up a little bit. Okay, in the shadows. And be careful to make sure your paper is dry. This is just a little damp. Now, can you see that? I'll get you down a little bit better, and then you can see what I'm doing here. Stay, camera. Don't wiggle. We're just going to go over where the darkness is here and give it a little more shadow. And in the ears. That one's wet. Still a little wet there. Okay, then you can go in with a little brown too. I have to flip this over to get a brown out. Yeah, sorry. Let's try kind of a brown. What kind of brown? Dark brown. I want a lighter brown. So let's go with pale brown. See what pale brown will do for us up here. It's too pale. Let's go for brown and see what brown will do. Okay, brown's okay. I'm going to go in these dark little wrinkles. You can add it on top of the, what was that, Loganberry? Yeah, Loganberry. And give it a little more. Definition there. Getting dry. And you can also add in a little pink if you like, just a light pinky skin tone in there too. This one is pink lavender. Might be a little bright, but something in that line we're going for. We're going to give him some blue eyes. Let's see what we have in blue in here. This is Prussian Blue. And then I'll show you a little bit more of what we're doing with his skin, so it's not so colorful. The rest of this is Indigo. So the skin really doesn't look as dark as it was. We are going to darken up everything else around him. What do we have here? Blackberry. These pencils are still new to me, so I'm just picking and choosing. Whoops. And we want a kind of a green tone on the bottom. We'll go with Pea Green. See how that'll work. And then kind of a more yellowish color, which is lime green down at the very base here. Okay, if we need to add a little more blue in, just go back in with the blue. All right, and then a black. Good luck me finding black. Where's the black? Okay, the black. And we will add in a couple of sparkles if I can find my pen. I don't think that one works. We'll try it and find out. It'll work good enough. There we go. Kitty got some sparkles. And then we'll just continue to work down the kitty's fur here. This is the pale brown. Still wet there. Then we'll go in with the darker brown in the darker areas. And if you really want to get it dark, you can get some black in there. This is the black. Should really read the pencils before I tell you what color they are. Just darkening those areas up. If you want any lighter areas, I would suggest using the Prisma white, which I have out on my desk somewhere. And it looks like it needs to be sharpened. There we go. Didn't get it sharpened good enough. Hold on. Okay, got pencil sharpened. I just thought maybe we'd lighten this area up a little bit on his cheek. If you want to highlight any of these areas, just go around and do that too. The top of his wrinkles. And he's got plenty of wrinkles. Blend in the ears just a little bit better. Maybe give him a highlight on his nose. And try to blend pulling up some of that color into his eye here. So it's not so stark white. There. Like I said, anywhere you want to on his ears or highlight any of his wrinkles just a little bit more, you can do that. Like his little cheekbone here. brighten it up a little bit. And you can go over that with any of these other colors. So if you didn't like how light that got, just go over it again. So we'll just follow going down here. The brown, kind of add in some of those step pieces. Those look like stairs too. So like his fur kind of turns into the steps. So you can try to blend that in a little bit better to the building, or you can use that as a, you can highlight that also. I'll show you what I mean in a second. Get some more of these shadows in here. Okay, if you wanted to highlight the steps, you can bring the white in and just do the top part of some of those. Just say that you know that they are steps. You could darken them too, make them darker steps. You can actually make that a whole different portion of the cat if you wanted to. It's always fun with Kerby's books how imaginative you can get. You can either make it like a realistic picture, but I mean, how many cats do you know that have a building on their back? I don't know too many. I'm just darkening the foot down here. You can't even see the foot. There we go. In between the toes here. And this kind of goes into a tree, so we want to not color the tree too much. And this foot, do the same thing. And all these areas that are dark, I'm just going in with the dark brown and pulling that color into the other color. And again down here he's turning into the tree area. This is the light or pale brown. Just kind of blending those colors in. You can't see again. Sorry. just blending up the tail. Now here it turns kind of into, it can either be this like rock that's coming down, so you can just put a light color in there. The building's going to be kind of a brown color too. The tail up on the top, that kind of looks like a swirly horn. You can just blend right into the building and then add your shading on the outside. But I mean, the building's basically going to be the same colors, just a little different. But some of this color can go in there. We got a bunch of little people here. Then we're going to go in with the dark brown and darken those up a little bit. Okay, back down to his foot here. I want his toes up here. I'm going to get those done too. Well, I think this is about it for this video. It's just a lot of shading going on, and I hear a big old truck pulling up outside. Nothing exciting. We're still having construction going on, and I'm pretty sure that is going to be binging and bashing in a minute. I just darken up, this is black, darken up the bottom of these steps right under where I put white. So there's white, there's tan, and then the darkest line here I'm going to do in black, just so you know that that's the shadow part. Okay. And then maybe in some of these, I'll just darken those, and then we'll go back in with the white and highlight those little tiny spots. But that is going to have to be it before they start screaming and yelling out there. That's our kitty so far. And that is how I use the Distress ink as a watercolor. So I hope that answered your question to, and I'm going to say Robin because it was Robin's hint. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and I will come back with probably part 2 of this, and we will get a little more coloring done a little later. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye now. Take care.